war drums have thundered across the line of control for 3 relentless days. Operation Sindhur was in full force. In the skies above, Indian jets carved arcs of defiance. Pakistan's air bases reeled under precision strikes, their commanders scrambling their bluff called. Then claim from a gilded podium in Washington, President Trump declared he had stopped the war. In New Delhi, the mood was steely. No, said the Ministry of External Affairs, and a single word followed by a heavy silence. They had the call logs, the timestamps, the missile telemetry, the bloodied soil, the 3:35 p.m. hotline that Pakistan had begged to reconnect. Not a whisper of trade, not a breath of diplomacy, only the hard, unyielding edge of Indian resolve. It wasn't Trump who brought peace, it was the force of Indian arms. And the echo of that truth now thundered louder than any speech. I'm going to first play out that soundbite of External Affairs Ministry spokesperson. We come back and decode why is it that Trump said what he said.
From the time of Operation Sindhur commenced on 7th May till the understanding on cessation of firing and military action on 10th May, there were conversations between Indian and US leaders on the evolving military situation. The issue of trade did not come up in any of these discussions.
Brahma Chellaney joins me live for On the Broadcast, strategic affairs expert, to decode why exactly Trump came out with those claims. Mr. Chellaney, you've been decoding Operation Sindhur. What do you make of Trump's claims that have been completely rejected by New Delhi?
It's important to note that Trump was reading from a script both times when he spoke about using trade as leverage against India to halt India-Pakistan military hostilities. He was not speaking off the cuff. And one wonders why he would do that, because even if you go by what he claims to have done to stop India from continuing its military operation, he has sent a message to New Delhi that the US is not a reliable partner of India. It's not even a reliable defense partner, because if what he says is true, that trade can be used as a political weapon against India, he's sending a message to India, don't depend on the US. Isn't that so? So he's undermining America's own vital relationship with India. It's so odd that the President of the United States, on 2 straight days in a row, has made a claim that he used trade as leverage to get India and Pakistan to halt military operations, which in effect means that he used trade as leverage against India, because it was India that they were seeking to pressure. So it's very odd that Trump would send a message to New Delhi that undercuts America's own diplomatic objectives vis-a-vis India.
That's an important point you're making, which brings me to ask you, at a time when India-US ties, whether it is on the economic front, whether it's in the geopolitical front, are expanding, and the scope is in fact limitless if one were to talk about the potential. What do you think would be the thinking in Trump administration? Because the fallout will be there, isn't it?
That's a good question, Gaurie. And I think that on one hand, the Trump administration, when it took office and in the last 3-4 months before the India-Pakistan military hostilities began, it appeared to be India-friendly. And suddenly when this India-Pakistan confrontation began, the tone in Washington changed somewhat on the second day. Initially, J.D. Vance effectively green-lighted India's strikes on Pakistan by saying that as long as India's retaliation does not lead to a full-fledged war, he effectively said it was okay for India to go ahead. And then the same J.D. Vance later, towards the end of second day of the military operations by India, said, telephoned Prime Minister Modi, and he has said publicly that he did call Prime Minister Modi.
Yes.
And he pressed Prime Minister Modi to cease military operations. The question is, what triggered this change of thinking in Washington. Apparently, it seems that, and I'm going by what US media accounts are saying, in mainstream US media, and the mainstream US media is not very Trump friendly. They are pretty hostile to the Trump administration, but they're all saying the same thing. Obviously, they have been briefed by the establishment in Washington. They are saying that when India struck the Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, it set alarm bells ringing in Washington, because it meant that India had the capability to knock out, to decimate, in fact, to decapitate Pakistan's nuclear command and control.
Indeed.
And I think that to save Pakistan from India's military wrath, from India's military reprisals, the Americans intervened.